I forgot it was a 4-book series.
4 books. It's kind of an interesting number. Not a trilogy.
Why? A quadrilogy?
A quadrilogy, I think, is the term.
That's what I said.
I don't know, but you probably could have cut some of this book. Probably could have been a trilogy. Cool. So today we are covering chapters 32 through 69 of Valor.
Nice.
This is what I was able. Oh yeah, nice. Wow, I didn't even do that on purpose. It's just that's sort of the amount that I was able to summarize before we had this Zoom call scheduled. So
well played.
And not a great stopping point, honestly. It's just kind of a random point to end, but well, we'll have another episode to wrap it up. Maybe
38 chapters. That's a sizable chunk for us to cover.
Yeah. So. Although he did sort of do the Sanderlanche thing in like sections of this, where he started doing the really short chapters, like cutting between people who are all in the same place. Kind of cool. I love that.
I enjoyed it because, like, you know, the book kind of on a whole centers around like 3 really big fights. And so it was kind of fun that like you had all these 6 or 7 characters converging on some of the fights at different points.
I
enjoyed it. The pacing was really good. Like once we got through the perpetual forest chase, the pacing got really good.
And that wasn't.
I thought I was gonna bring this up later, but here was one of the things that I picked up from reading a review. At a certain point in this book, there's an acknowledgement that a full year has passed from chapter 1.
Wow.
Does that feel right to you?
Well, no, I didn't think a year had passed, but I guess if you think about all the ground that people cover, because people really are like traversing this continent, that makes sense, right?
It kind of does, but it also puts into perspective that they were fleeing in the forest for probably 7 to 8 months.
So you don't like the fact that they were like sleeping on the ground and eating guacamole and rabbit stew for 8 months?
What is it? Truncheons of Pop-Tarts.
Trenchers. Yeah, trenchers of Pop-Tarts, yeah.
So parts of it make sense. Like if we think about the gladiator training montage, that kind of makes sense for the amount of time that's passed. If we think about like Corban's narrative, it doesn't make sense. So I just thought it was a shocking statement for me to read.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, but I guess it just didn't like really come to mind as I was reading it. So
yeah, same.
So it clearly wasn't an issue for me.
No, because there's not really any major time skips like throughout the book as much.
Yeah. Although, yeah, my experience of it was certainly like this was sort of a short, frantic run to domain for these guys, and clearly it was a long, frantic run.
It's true. Well, let's hop into our little narrative plot summary here.
Let's do a little summary. All right, here we go. Chapters 32 through 69 of Valor. We pick up with Maquin, who is defending our thick queen, Gerda, from jail in his warband. Maquin leads them to some early victories and agrees to protect Gerda's shitty son. It looks like Maquin is about to save the day again and kill Jail until Lycos shows up and says, "Hippy hoppity, you're my property. It's slave fighting time."
Oh my God.
That's a direct quote from the book.
How long did that take you to come up with?
No, that was quick. I really banged this one out because we had to get on this call. Maquin is whisked off to the Vinthalan Islands to participate in Hunger Games, and it seems really shitty. Back in Arden, Evnus and Rin pull a sneaky one on Owen and his army. Owen's army is routed, and Rin takes control of Arden. Cohen is brought out to the battlefield to watch all of this for some reason, and good thing because she's able to take shield back from a dying soldier. It's fine because dead men don't need horses. Cohen tries to kill Connell again and lands a nut kick before Veritas takes her prisoner. Rin executes Owen after he refuses to serve her, and Connell becomes Rin's first sword and buck buddy by defeating Morcant in a duel. Eventually, the gang heads west, and Thayer is going to Benoth to seek the cauldron, and Veritas and Rin are going to take domain from creepy-ass Eremon. Fine by me. Wraith is sent to capture Corban. Band is still on the run. Corban and Co are headed north to domain to seek refuge with King Eremon. We get some more wanton killing and a few disgusting field medicine scenes where Brina amputates Merrick's hand. As they near Domain, they run into Uthis and his merry band of giants, Coralin, and a pack of Wolven. Brina and Heb use the earth power to start a forest fire, and Corban helps. His magic cherry has been popped. Storm commits some Wolven-on-Wolven violence that the woke media doesn't want you to know about. Peril's dad also gets ragdolled by a Wolven, so pour one out for him. Coralin and Wrath save the day, and we learn that Coralin and Halion are brother and sister, kind of. More on that later. They all team up and head into Domain to meet Eremon, king of Domain and walking HR nightmare. Eremon and his very uncool wife, Royson, agree to protect Corban and now Queen Adan once they learn that Ren has taken Dun Carrig, but only on the condition that Idana marries their son. Elsewhere, Fidel is in Ripa visiting the Veritas family. She goes on a library date with Veritas' nerdy brother Ector, and they speculate that Big Mike is a figure from the God War prophecy. Finally, in the teen romance section of the book, Corban gets his first kiss from the harlot Maeve, according to Corlin. And Coitus, Barrowin, do some flirting. We ship so hard. That's
Coitus. Coitus is the right way
I think
to
it's
say
Coitus, right?
I think it is.
I listened to an old ep, and I regret being a Cywen podcast for first book because there's so much evidence that it's Cohen.
I'm still Team Cywen, even though it's wrong.
Really? Well, John Gwynne's kids are Team Cohen, so
I'll take it. He seems like a good family guy. He seems like a great dad.
He really does. I like him as a man more than as an author.
And I think so. I think so too. I do like him as an author. I think it might be worth mentioning. He wrote us a very kind email.
Yes, he really did.
Yeah. Just a very sweet man. Acknowledged that we were working on the podcast and said he was focusing on his family. And then just like, he seems like a stand-up guy. I appreciate him a lot.
The fact that he even responded was like, that melted my heart.
That was when we had like 4 minutes of content too.
Maybe zero minutes. I don't even know if we had an episode out. I have a theory about John Gwynne in real life versus John Gwynne books.
Okay.
So you remember the epic badass author photo in the back of the book where he's holding an axe?
I mean, how could I forget it? It's seared into my memory forever.
It's sick. So he's got 2 dogs. One of them appears to be like a husky, sort of wolf-like, perhaps wolven-like. The other, very hound-like.
Ooh.
You think there's a chance that this is Budeye and Storm were the inspiration therefore?
I could see it for sure.
I saw somewhere that like he said that he sort of wrote this for his family, not really imagining that it would get published or go anywhere.
Right.
So I was wondering if you're writing something for your family, wouldn't it be a fun thing to just be like, yeah, I fucking threw our dogs in there. Isn't that cool?
It kind of makes me warm my heart a little bit to the idea of the superpowered horse friend, because
Shield.
Yeah, Shield, or just generally the idea of superpowered animals throughout the book, and could be cool. Could be something his kids like. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, it's a kid pleaser.
Imagine you write a book for your kid, and they're like, oh my gosh, I like the horse, and then he's like, you know what? I'm a good dad. I'm gonna make this horse save the day like 14 times.
I really love this stinky, toothless cat that's in your book that is killing everyone with its terrible breath.
You're lucky Mr. Carrots wasn't in this book.
God, Mr. Carrots would have fucking joined Azeroth immediately.
Oh man.
Okay, so let's mix things up. Let's start with McCann. He sort of came first in this order of chapters, and this is where McCann really gets his star turn.
McCann is dope. So he's got the super squad with Orgul, the giant slaying badass.
Yeah.
And so they head on over to the Queen Lady, who is in the kingdom that Jael, I always forget.
Yeah, Jael. I'm going Jael.
Jael is from, and they're like, yo,
Isiltir.
Jael just offed our main man, our number one hero, Castle. And he is coming to claim the throne. So let's tell everybody about the betrayal first. And they're actually pretty receptive to it after some, healthy skepticism.
Yeah. And Gerda's kind of a badass, the queen in charge, now that her husband got speared in the face last episode.
Yeah, I thought at first I got the vibe of like the the queen mom from Game of Thrones that still lets her like 10-year-old kid breastfeed. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
That was like my first impression of her. But then as the chapters went on, she was just like actually pretty sick. Like she was getting into fights. She was yelling things at jail. Like she was cool.
She kicks ass.
Yeah.
It's her son who seems not that cool. But
I mean, your son's like 8 years old. Yeah.
Well, whatever. Get out there. Corbin's 8.
But one of my favorite parts of this whole narrative is when they go to parlay with jail, and then he just fucking hurls a spear straight through the guy on the top of the wall, and I was like, oh shit, this guy's not fucking around.
As discussed, that feels right for this world.
Yeah, just has the world record javelin toss immediately.
Yeah. This is not a land that is run by backroom negotiations and political wheeling and dealing.
How far do you think you could throw a javelin right now? No warm up.
A javelin?
Yeah, I mean that's what jail threw. Basically.
Do I have to do javelin rules, like where you can't bend your elbow?
Well, I imagine he threw it from a horse, so you can't use your lower body.
I bet I could throw it 15 to 20 yards.
Which brings up an interesting question. How yoked is he?
That far.
How yoked is he to just get that upper body rotation, yeet that motherfucker up to the top deck, and go straight through a dude's chest?
I bet he's not yoked. He sort of has a wiry pitcher's build, you know? He's like 6'5",
like Randy Johnson. He's like exploding birds on his pitches.
Yeah, strong but wiry, you know?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That's jail's build.
Yeah.
So McCann sort of half saves the day repeatedly until Lycos shows up. And he's sort of the adult in the room in terms of mopping shit up.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a little bit of a loser, but
they're really pushing jail back. I really thought for a minute they had him. And then Lycos shows up in the little river, which is devious. He took his boats all the way from the capital city to the back rivers, basically, and was, I think at one point they talk about him like hiking the boats over land, like to explain how he covered that kind of ground. Because it's one of those things where, like, you know, imagine if a naval vessel showed up at Town Lake. I think that's how I imagine the equivalent in Austin.
They're portaging an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, it's just like that's not meant to be here. And he gets so
these
close.
Ships aren't that big, right?
No, I mean
they're like little like Viking long ships.
That's what I imagine. You know, like 20 oarsmen, and you know, no weapons on board, or like no cannons or anything crazy like that. And then
we don't have there are no guns or explosives in this world.
No,
just magic.
No, which I appreciate. It makes it more complicated when that happens.
So McCann has an epic last stand, sort of they find like more giant tunnels, which is kind of cool. Like it's done whatever, the millionth done fortress, but they also have tunnels like Dunkirk, and he kills approximately 1,000 people in his final stand. But Lycos captures him with a whip, which is kind of funny. He whips sick. His sword hand, then like wrenches his sword out, and then he's sort of subdued. And he's taken off for his little gladiator turn.
Yeah, and this is about the moment where I still thought Lycos was going to be cool. So this is like, you know, this guy, Orgel and McCann just defeated like 200 people. There's a pile of bodies in this tunnel, and he just sword hand whips this guy right back to him and subdues him. And I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. He just saved the day. He also has some honor. He like doesn't let his first mate kill the guy, even though there's like a small revenge plot. And in the meantime, what's important is that the son, the true king, basically is escorted out the back of the tunnel to be taken to safety while Orgel and McCann make their stand. Yeah,
McCann like promised to protect him, and he sends a guy whose name I cannot remember.
I can't remember.
Shepherd him out.
Because he has the true claim to the throne over jail if it ever comes to that.
Yeah, it is funny that jail's claim is like kind of weak, but I guess it's just him versus like an 8-year-old. And that's basically his pitch. To wrap up the discussion of the little 8-year-old boy, he eventually meets up with Takul, Gar's dad, and Big Mike. And they run in, and that's sort of the last we hear of him in this section. So Seems like he's in good hands.
More to come.
So now we're in gladiator mode. We got Russell Crowe as McCann. And we get one fight scene in this section, which is sort of the first one where he's stuck on a rowing duty, which seems very shitty. I don't know if you have anything to say about rowing duty.
I mean, has it ever not seemed shitty in any portrayal in media?
Even in the Boy Scouts, rowing was shitty, like canoeing.
Yeah, like crew. People who do crew are monsters.
They're jacked, though.
They're jacked. And they go to like Ivy League schools because that's the only people that have fucking crew.
Yeah, gosh, it is such a fancy but brutal sport.
Yeah, that's a whole separate discussion. The niche sporting community around Ivy League colleges.
Yeah,
like get your squash scholarship to Cornell.
Yeah. So he gets off and has a brutal fight with 9 fellas, 4 knives. I don't know if you ever saw that one on Pornhub. It is a shitty one.
The guy skipped right through that one.
Yeah. Keep scrolling. And he's not sure that he wants to participate and sort of give them their fun and games by killing. But then he says, you know what? I hate jail so much. I'm just going to do some killing.
Yeah, what a motivating factor. He's just cannot wait to kill this guy.
Dude, I would fully be in like I would be in like, please kill me, like the hound mode. Like if I just gotten off like oar duty and then you stuck me in a fighting pit, there's no way my hatred of jail would carry through.
No, I don't have that kind of follow through capability. The discipline.
Oh, McCann loses an ear, by the way.
Yeah, he gets it neatly sliced off. For just a little bit of revenge,
and branded. So, and his nose broken. He's this guy. Yeah. This guy must look so fucked up by the end of this section.
Honestly, yeah. And then you imagine that he was on a boat for like, knowing that this was a year-long period. He was on this boat for like 2-3 months without pretty much any food or water.
Yeah, he's just covered in poo-poo. This guy.
He's not looking good. He's not looking good.
Yeah,
which is more impressive because then he like doesn't take place in the parties and the like celebration or anything like that. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm a stoic now.
That's so whack. Come on, man. Although at the same, I wouldn't participate either. I would be way too upset to be like, oh yes, pour me some wine and bring me your women. Like, no chance. Does that wrap up the McCann stuff?
I think for this
unfortunately, this section sort of ends before like we get a ton of other gladiators.
We do get a McCann Sanderlanche, spoilers. But I think the only thing to say about it is that the Vinthalen fighting pits are alive and well.
They are. So we got some chapters last time where Fidel like confronts Lycos about the fighting pits. And I think just because it's sort of tropey, like gladiators and fighting pits, I was like, okay, this is whatever. But now that McCann's in them, they're very fucked up. It's really bad. They should not be doing this.
Yeah, I'm anti-violence now after reading this section.
Are you should we go picket some UFC stuff?
No, we gotta be in the crowd going, grab his dick and twist it. Twist his dick.
Instead of picketing, we can do that. It seems like a good compromise. Okay, let's knock out Cohen. No, not Cohen. Corban. Cohen's brother is Corban.
But she still doesn't really know he's alive, and he doesn't know she's alive.
He does not know that.
Yeah,
as far as I know.
Yeah.
So their forest days are over. They are getting close to the border of Domain, and essentially they're sort of one way through the mountains. Big road, but the road is kind of occupied. So
Wolven.
Well, by people, and then eventually by Wolven also. So I guess there's like one fucking little mountain pass that they can take, and they're going, and the people who are following them are getting very close. So close that no one's going to stop for the night because they couldn't lose the trail. So Idana, I think, sort of makes the call to say, all right, final stand time. We fight, we die. Let's do this. And then we find out that it's Uthis Uthis and the Giant Boys have been hot on their trail. So we get Giants and Wolven and Corbin's team and eventually Corlin's team. All fucking scrapping.
Wait, I thought we might have a plot difference here.
What happened?
Just because I thought they make the last stand in the mountains and then the Wolven come through and everybody's fighting men, Wolven. They got some fire. The fire illuminates the fights. The Wolven are killing everything. Yeah. Then when they get off the mountain, they run into the woods and they just run straight into Uthis.
Yeah, you're right. These things happen in like basically back to back. I skipped to the first fight and it went straight to the second fight.
That's fair. Because the first fight is actually not that eventful, despite the fact that it's just like really brutal and gory. There's just like body parts flying everywhere.
Farrell's dad gets yanked by a Wolven.
Yeah. And we get a little bit more fire magic and stuff.
Yeah.
But they make it off the mountain and they're limping, they're bruised, and they're ready to take refuge in the forest. They immediately find a band of giants.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And then this is where we get the Sanderlanche cutting between everyone's perspectives, because we're getting like Corbin's team's perspective, and we're getting Uthis, and then we're getting Corlin, and we realize, oh fuck, like these people are all in the same place.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Uthis was he was sort of like waffling. Do we fight? Do we run? What do we do? And then he sees that they use the earth power, and he was very personally offended that these mortals were using the earth power. So he decides to scrap.
Yeah, so personally offended, he kills our boy Heb.
Oh, yeah, Heb gets fucking lit up immediately.
Yeah, but in his dying breaths, Corban is inspired to use fire magic for the first time, which is very lit.
Yeah, they're doing they have a fire pissing contest where Heb lights a branch, Uthis unlights the branch, and then Corban lights it. He believed hard enough this time.
Yeah,
so that was
pretty cool. Crazy. So Uthis pretty much goes off running with his tail between his legs. Yeah. Corlin and the rest of the badasses show up.
Yeah.
They meet for the first time. They're like, why the fuck are you here? And then they're kind of homies. Is it at this point where they also skin the wolves for their fur?
Yes, I didn't include that in the summary. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that now. So putting yourself in the shoes of yourself at this point, did you have any good guesses about what Corban's plan was, skinning these Wolven?
I actually I didn't really. The closest I had to a guess was that he was going to use the scent of them as like in case they got attacked by Wolven again, he was going to like either pretend to be a Wolven friend or like use it as a warning or use it to throw off their trail.
Yeah.
But I was confused. And I'm a pretty squeamish guy. So the idea of like on a hot day skinning a bunch of wolves and then walking around with their untreated belts for like an indeterminate amount of time just sounds awful.
Camlin remarks on it at one point. He's like, man, what is that sack of nasty shit they are dragging around? It smells horrible.
Why do you have a bloody, rotting sack of animal skins?
This is Camlin, who like spent his entire life in the dark wood. Is like, y'all are disgusting.
None of them have touched a shower in months, you know?
No. This is
that's how you know this is rank.
This is one of the stinkiest books in all of fantasy. No one is showering ever.
Yeah.
And then we get the big reveal that I guess we could have pieced together if we were smarter. Corlin and Halion are both bastard children of creepy Eremon.
Yeah, it appears he likes to fuck.
He does. He's a creepy boy.
I don't love him.
You know who does love him though? Hamlin. Why?
Yeah. It's
Hamlin's
so
like, I would crack a brew with this old creep. Why not?
This old creep who's hitting on my half sister. Sounds great.
There's a thing where Eremon's like in the throne room and he starts like ogling one of the serving women, and his wife is like, "That's your daughter," and then his response is, "Well, that's a shame."
I can't.
She's my daughter. She's hot.
I can't fathom it. He's a creepy dude, and he's got a shitty wife. And that's
am I
pretty much
wrong?
The royal family.
Am I wrong that he's sort of cast as like creepy in a sort of fun, endearing way?
Okay, so this
How is he
brings
written?
up this brings up the second thing that I read in a review that I wanted to talk about. And this was the take that John Gwynne writes all characters equally in terms of our ability to root for them in this book. Like, no matter what side of the war they're on, they're like accidental anti-heroes. They're like creepy pedophiles, but also like a lovable character. Like Lycos is a fighting badass who's also a terrible person. Like,
Yeah.
it was an interesting take. What do you think about it?
I mean, Lycos is garbage. I agree with it to the extent it applies to like Eremon, but I don't know. I'm not like rooting for Nether. Like Nether was sort of shades of gray in book one. Like Rin, I think is obviously bad. Like Evna sucks. Like
I agree. Like, actually, I didn't like that take that I read because the only, and I think it was written primarily about Nether, just that, oh no, he's just doing what he thinks is right and he's accidentally on the wrong side of it. But he's also a dick and he does a bunch of terrible things. I think the only character I kind of see it about is Veritas, where I am like rooting for him, even though he is firmly on the wrong side of this fight at the moment.
Yeah.
But no, Eremon is just is a creepy dude, and I don't know why everybody is so upset that he gets treated badly.
That is, yeah, I could imagine some readers not loving that he was sort of played for laughs while his wife is sort of cast as like a shrewy bitch just for like wanting to ensure that her son, succeeds him.
And maybe not loving all of her like bastard children running around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she shouldn't have had them like all killed, but she was in a tough spot.
When you put it that way, okay, she probably shouldn't have had them all killed.
Yeah, so, I mean, some of these thoughts were like occurring to me because we have her, which you could probably read in a negative way, and then the repeated descriptions of Gerda being fat, I think was probably would be written differently nowadays. And then there's something too about like Rin as sort of this like villain who is also like a sexual fiend, I think could play into some sort of negative tropes about women. I don't know if you picked up on that, but
it just kind of grossed me out because they also, I mean, from a personal level, they also acknowledge Rin is like very old. I think she has some like magic going on to maintain a little youthfulness.
Yeah.
But it's just like a weird, like, ooh, she's trying to take literally everybody to bed. It's very strange. That they basically cast all of the royalty or most of the royalty as just horn dogs, which is probably historically accurate.
It's probably true, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure we could think of some rich and powerful people in the present day who are sexual deviants. So they go to Domain, and the Eremon and Queen are not super psyched about helping until they find out that Rin has just conquered Ard, and they sort of see the writings on the wall. So they forge a quick alliance. But more importantly, we get a fucking barroom scene. Corban and the boys. We get arm wrestling. Corban gets a kiss. Corlin's making eyes at him. This is fun and games.
This is what I wanted all along.
Hell yeah.
Just tavern camaraderie, hijinks, love. This is the kind of novel that I'm coming here for. And Farrell just continues to impress. He is head over heels in love with Corlin.
Yes.
Big dumb son Braden of Avery. He's in a drinking and arm wrestling competition simultaneously with everybody.
That's classic. That's classic me. That's classic my son. Classic the opposite of me. Yeah, that stuff's great. This is like now we're in like the OC set in year 900. It's a teen drama.
It is. And the Maeve, I believe it is, that kisses Corban. First of all, more acknowledgement that Corban's turning into quite the hunk. But his sunrise training with Gar is really paying off,
Everyone's acknowledging it. It's like, oh my God, Corban.
Yeah. What do you picture him as? Like what? I don't really have a good mental image of Corban.
Do you think you can dunk?
I kind of imagine him as like a like a modern day fuckboy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, with like a Jack Harlow haircut or something?
Yeah.
Really? You know who I'm imagining? This is total recency bias, but I'm imagining him as like Thorfinn from Vinland Saga.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not overly large. He's only 16 at this point, so
Right.
which we learn.
I had to stop Vinland Saga.
Yeah, I did too.
It's too boring. Farm Simulator 4000.
The depressed farm sim with copious screaming and was kind of turning me off.
Yeah, the night terrors every episode are just not something I really wanted.
Yeah, you can only watch so many shows.
But so outside of the tavern drama, the alliance is interesting because the reason they finally come to terms with Little Miss Princess and Corban's merry bands is that Rin has done some crazy shit back in her neck of the woods that we haven't really covered yet.
Yeah, take us there.
So, Mr. Plot Summary, why don't you take us there?
I tossed it back to you because I have no clue what you're talking about.
They betray Owen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess we didn't talk about that. Yeah, they pulled a sneaky.
Yeah.
So Evnus, he musters his forces and he says that he's going out to support Owen. They go to meet Rin's people on the field of battle, and Evnus leads the charge. But as he sort of gets to the front lines of Rin's people, he whips out a flag, unfurls Rin's colors. Gotcha, losers. And they turn around and kick ass.
It was pretty cool. It was also not a surprise or a twist. It was incredibly telegraphed.
When you said it was pretty cool, I was like, was it cool?
It was a kind of cool battle. It was also the least surprising twist of all time.
Yeah.
And they just absolutely destroy the dude. They've got their secret formations that they're running. They've got the high grounds. They've got a Draith or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh yeah, he was riding a stinky drake.
Yeah.
They were like so overpowered for this fight because they had like Veritas and the shield wall who weren't even really being used. They have like an army of Jahar. They have a drag. Like Owen really had no chance.
And it's also, I think the only person somewhat surprised in all this is Veritas, who was like, I don't feel good about this. This isn't what I want.
Yeah. He does have some remark. He's like, man, people really do be dying for the whims of like 3 people. Anyways, it's for the greater good.
And he's also like, oh man, my sworn blood brother just totally lied to this guy's face and then murdered him on the battlefield.
Dude, there's a scene. There's a scene where Veritas goes up to Nether and he's like, hey, I've been thinking about some things and I don't feel good. And Nether's like, what? You can talk to me. He's like, yeah, so do you remember how Calidus killed all of my friends in the giant city? It's like, hey, don't worry about it, man. Like Nether has nothing really to say. He's just like, thank you for telling me about that. We are not going to do anything about that.
Yeah, he really is getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah, poor Veritas.
It's brutal.
He'll come around. He'll come to the good guy team soon. I feel.
Yeah, but I think outside of Owen just getting absolutely crushed and then executed, the only I think other interesting part of that scene is the Cohen saga where she kind of gets away. She steals back shield.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. She's a badass.
Yeah, that's dope, and that's sort of the beginning of the coitus flirting, which is gotta say I'm pretty into it.
It's true. She fucking sabotages Connell at every opportunity she can, and then Veritas is just there to kind of pick up the pieces and kindly shuffle her back into place.
Yeah, he is. Hold on, we did have some. There's like one of my favorite scenes or little quotes from the whole book was Veritas saying to Cohen, "You really need to stop trying to kill people."
Yeah, this is when. So she tried to assassinate Evnus. Yeah. She tried to like punch Nether. She tried to kill Connell like 7 times.
She tries to kill Morcant and actually hits him with a knife in the shoulder.
That scene is fucking cool because they're having their celebratory feast and everything. This is like, it's just walking up to the throne room, pulling your knife out and stabbing the number 2 guy.
Yeah, it's so sick because it's from Veritas' perspective, and he has Cohen as prisoner, and all of a sudden he's like, wait a second, where the fuck is Cohen? It's like, oh no.
It's like, oh, she's out there stabbing again.
And it's hilarious because everyone's like, she's going for Ren. She's like, no, I'm not. I don't give a fuck about Ren. I'm going for this random guy.
It's like, fuck this guy. Because more
killed my boyfriend
a
million pages ago.
Also, like, come on, that boyfriend, they flirted like 2 times.
She said she was going to be hand down to him. Don't delegitimize her feelings.
I won't delegitimize it, but it's pretty cool. And then, kind of preying on Morkant's new vulnerability, Connell decides he's going to make his power move.
It seems a little weird that he can do this when Morkant just pulled a knife out of his shoulder.
It's kind of the second time there's this like king's or queen's justice or king's justice type thing or the shelter rule. Like there's a couple of like antiquated rules that get thrown out to fill logic gaps in the book. Like, why would they let this wolf live? Why would they protect a criminal on the run? Like, why would they allow a duel during the celebratory feast? And it's like, well, that's the thing we got to do.
I was sort of wondering if like John Gwynne got this far down the road and he's like, I don't give a fuck about Morkant. Can we just make Connell the first sword and get this Morkant motherfucker out of here?
I think that was the thing. Like, he can't have 2 sassy, somewhat nefarious swordsmen in the same room all at the same time. So he had to simplify the writing. Yeah,
which is fine. Get Morkant out of there. He might have like he's probably going to end up being like the most important character in book 4 or something. But that's how it feels to me right now.
Yeah, but yeah, Connell wins. He becomes the first sword to Ren and also the first lover in the night.
Yeah, he's given her his first sword.
Yeah,
did that work?
Yes, it was a statement, that's for sure.
It wasn't. Didn't land the way I wanted it to land.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Ren then gathers her forces, splits up with Nethair.
Yeah.
And marches towards Eremon to take back the princess, to take over the rest of the kingdom, and just march on her little power trip.
Yeah, she's rolling up the western U.S. and Nethair cauldron time. He's headed.
Nethair's like, I'm coming. I'm getting that weird portal.
That means, that means that our little romance, Veritas and Cohen, they get split up because Veritas is going west. And Cohen, for whatever, I guess now we know why, but whatever, she's going to Benal with Nethair and Co. So
yeah,
it's sad. They do, they touch hands towards the end. He sort of says goodbye and the hand on hers. It's very nice.
Yeah, and then they kind of hit us over the head with it for the rest of the book because every time Veritas has a POV, it ends with, I wonder what Cohen's up to. Why am I thinking of her?
They should use the cauldron FaceTime. They should have got a lock of her hair.
They should.
Okay. So I think that's basically all. We'll just hit some odds and ends now. We get some Fidel stuff. She's hanging out with Veritas' family. Talked about in the summary, but they find another fighting pit with Veritas' cool older brother, and she does like a little research sesh with his kind of nerdy middle.
Only dude who reads in the entire kingdom.
Yeah, there really is information in books that people are not finding. Did they really learn anything like that great though?
No,
I read this scene and like
what I read into it is a lot of doubt that Nethair is truly the hero.
Is that what we're getting? I thought they were mostly speculating about Big Mike. I know that Fidel leaves it like wondering about her son, but
you're right. I mean, I thought that part was important because it's kind of like, is he the hero or is he the Black Sun? I see a lot of parallels for the first time, but then also Big Mike, is a lot more than he seems.
Yeah, there is some cool too. Like, it exposes like one of these double entendres in the prophecy where they talk about like the counselor to the High King being like the Ben Elim and the Kaidushim or whatever.
Yeah,
and in retrospect, it's like this double entendre because you get like Big Mike was counselor to Aquilus, and then who's a Calidus, is now a counselor to Nether. So
right.
That's kind of a cool little foreshadowing that's been in the book for a long time.
I appreciate, a prophecy that has validity through multiple books. Like, it shows good writing,
Yeah, I remember when I finished this book, I went back to the prophecy to sort of see like which ones I could check off, which ones I understood, and which ones I didn't. So that's good. Yeah, and it's not like it's not dominating the story either.
It's also not obvious. Like, there's little clues that we suss out, as the books go on. It's not like the first son of the king is the bad guy and the farmhand is the good guy.
I prophesy that a young man named Nether will be deluded by the devil.
Right.
Okay, so that's basically Fidel, and then we leave with just some ominous, foreboding thoughts about, man, if she ever sees Lycos, she's gonna have some words for him.
She's mad. She's big mad.
Big mad. Yeah, she does not like the fighting pits, and neither do we.
No.
Record. No. Okay, and then
I think that's most of the big stuff.
Yeah, let's call it, because next step, well, hopefully we get through the end of the book. Are we going to finish it?
I think we will, because this is kind of where all the big action happens. Pretty much where we're leaving off is just the setup for a lot of really interesting fights.
Yeah, we do leave in a good spot where we got through sort of this initial conflict with this and Corlin, all these people that came together. We dealt with Owen, and now, it does feel like we're headed to the end game of the book with Nether headed north, Veritas headed west.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Uthis is in league with Ren, which comes to play a bigger part a little bit later on.
Yes, yeah, that's good. And there was an interesting thing. There's a scene where Evnis, Ren, Nether all get in the same room, and I didn't realize this, but it seems that Ren was not aware that Nether doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like, Nether makes some comment like, we are marching north to defeat the Black Sun or something. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? But she's smart enough to not say anything. She's like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what's going on, does he?
Yeah. Calidus is just shooting her fucking dagger eyes across the room. Shut the fuck up. He didn't see the cauldron devil deal that we did.
I just didn't realize that Ren and Evnis might not know sort of how Nether was being used by the devil.
Yeah, it is interesting, because to that point, right? There's all these times where, the devil is basically like, well, if it's not you, it's this guy. And if it's not this guy, I'll just take somebody else over. And because Ren and Evnis know that there is this prophecy that's going to happen, but they don't really understand, I think, all the implications of how he takes over somebody's body and stuff like that.
And
it's interesting.
We don't have a sense of how much the devil communicates beyond giving everyone horrible dreams all the time. So.
Right. And we can be pretty certain that Ren and Evnis are being manipulated in probably similar ways to Nether.
Yes. Other thing that we didn't discuss is, we got some more scenes with Gar's dad, Cole. Yep. He and Big Mike are headed out to find Corban. They show up to Dunkerque, and they did not get the news that Corban is not in Dunkerque anymore. So there was a kind of funny scene where Takul and Mike walk up to the gates and hello, we've come for Corban, and they almost get killed.
They get chased off.
Yeah. So, and then Big Mike does a cool little trick. He slips into a coma and goes into the other world and is able to locate Corban. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it also explains a little bit about how Calidus can potentially locate people too.
Yeah, because we saw that in the first section of the book. And
and the other interesting part is,
now we know
that's cool, and Big Mike's squad are understanding they might have to do some Jahar on Jahar violence to fight this war, which they were not anticipating.
Sad. Yeah, very sad. But a useful thing that no one knows which Jahar are which, and
they're all just scared of
anyone's Jahar.
They're all just super scared of them. Yeah. These long-haired, sword-wielding, crazy fuckers.
Yeah. And Big Mike is hesitant to go into the other world, which is pretty interesting. It's not like a place that he can just pop in and out of easily, no consequences. He's definitely last resort going there.
Yeah. We're getting some Avatar scenes where he has to go into his meditative states, and then can maybe get stuck there. Maybe some bad things can happen while he's in there.
Yeah, not good. But come on, I trust him with my life and Corban's life.
Of course. Big Mike.
Okay, cool. That's it. And then next episode, chapter 70 through end, we'll get our Gwynne storm, as you so cleverly done.
It's not a Sandra Lynch, it's a Gwynne storm.
It's a Gwynne storm. We're going to tweet that, and it's going to go viral, I think.
Do we have a Twitter?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. I tweeted once.
Nice.
Well, we have a Twitter. Our podcast has a Twitter.
I tried to make the Instagram, but I think it's still banned. and we tried to post on Reddit Fantasy, and we got yeeted out of there.
Yeah, they did not like our self-promotion, but we will be back, folks.
We'll be back.
Okay, cool. You want to stop recording?
Yeah.